Imagine a young girl living in a vibrant, bustling city, surrounded by rich culture and endless inspiration, yet held back by one simple obstacle. She doesn't even own a sketchbook. What would you do if your greatest passion felt just beyond your grasp? Stay with us as we unfold the inspiring journey of Leila, a determined girl from Istanbul, whose creativity and resilience break through every limitation. This story is not just about art, but about perseverance, courage, and the power of dreaming big. Let's dive into her captivating story together and improve your English listening skills along the way. Leila lives in a big city in Turkey, near the famous Blue Mosque. She lives in an old building, where after school, she often sits at the window. She looks at the boats going out to sea. "What are you doing, Leila?" her mother asks. "I'm sketching those boats," Leila says. Her mother looks at her and laughs. "Sketching? How can you sketch without your sketchbook?" "I don't need a sketchbook, Mother. I sketch in my mind. I can see the pictures here," Leila says, pointing to her head. Her mother laughs again. "Stop talking and go to your father's shop," she tells her. Leila's father sells vegetables and fruits. After school, Leila helps at the shop. "Don't move, stay there near the door," her father says suddenly. "Why?" "I want you to paint me," her father laughs. Leila smiles, "But I don't have a sketchbook yet." Her father stops laughing. "Then you can't paint me," he says slowly. Leila dreams of owning a sketchbook and paints with her imagination. Every afternoon, Leila walks through the old streets of Istanbul, watching the houses by the water and the men fishing on the bridge. She looks at the boats and sees pictures in her mind. "How can I get a sketchbook?" she wonders. Then, she has an idea. "I will work at the market." There is an old market near Leila's school with small shops where people buy and sell food. Leila goes there every afternoon after school. She carries bags for the people, and they give her money. She puts the money in her pocket. "One day, I'll have enough money to buy a sketchbook," Leila tells her mother. Her mother smiles. "When you buy it, I want you to paint me, not in the kitchen, but in the garden." One afternoon, Leila is carrying a heavy bag for an old man when she notices a large man following them. "Do you know him?" the old man asks. Leila looks at the man behind them. "He's big and strong." "No, I don't know him," Leila says. The old man warns her, "Watch my bag." Suddenly, the big man grabs the bag from Leila's hands and starts running away. Leila chases him. The man pushes her down, and she drops the money she had earned. The man takes the money and runs off. Leila returns the bag to the old man. "Thank you," the old man says. "You're a good young girl." Leila is unhappy but doesn't tell her parents about the lost money. "I'll start over," she tells herself. The next day, she's back at the market, waiting for another chance. An old woman asks Leila to carry her heavy bags. "Are they very heavy?" the woman asks. "Not for me, I'm very strong," Leila says. They reach the statue of Ataturk. "I remember Ataturk. He was a very important man for Turkey," the woman says. "I want to paint you here." Leila replies, "But I don't have a painting set." The woman looks at Leila, then smiles. "All right, paint me without your paints, but wait, I'll fix my hair first." After Leila helps her with the bags, the woman says, "How much do you want?" Leila answers, "How much will you give me?" "Sit here and wait," the woman says. She goes into another room and comes back with an old painting set. "This was my son's. Take it," she tells Leila. Leila looks at the painting set. It's beautiful, but I can't take it, she says. The woman insists. My son doesn't want it anymore. You need it more than I do. Leila takes the set and promises to return someday and paint a real picture for the woman. Thank you, the woman says. And here's some money for your work. Leila refuses the money but promises to carry her bags again. The woman smiles. You're very kind. My name is Mrs. Yeliz. Thank you, Mrs. Yeliz, Leila says as she leaves. At home, Leila shows her mother the painting set she received from Mrs. Yeliz. Does it work? Her mother asks. Yes, it works. Now I can finally paint. Leila says, but I want to buy the paint with my money, not yours. Leila works every day after school, saving money for more supplies. One day, she has enough money to buy new paint. I'm going to paint for real now, Leila thinks. She remembers Mrs. Yeliz and returns to her flat. Mrs. Yeliz is happy to see Leila again. I want to paint you, Mrs. Yeliz, Leila says. She sets up the painting supplies. Mrs. Yeliz's son, Yusuf, is there. Let's take a picture of both of you, Leila suggests, and she begins painting them. Yusuf is a photographer, and he can teach Leila about painting. I want to learn, Leila says. Yusuf smiles. Go out and paint what you see, then show me your work. Leila walks through the streets of Istanbul, painting the bridges, boats, and old buildings. She paints the people in the streets, capturing the city's essence. Later, she shows her work to Yusuf. Not bad, he says, though some of her paintings are better than others. Leila feels frustrated, but Yusuf advises, learn more. It takes time. One day, Leila visits a small art shop and meets an old man named Salim. I like your shop. I want to learn from you, Leila says. Salim looks at her paintings and says, we all see with our eyes, but good artists see with the eye of the canvas. Leila learns from Salim, practicing every day, painting doors, windows, and children in the streets. After some time, Leila feels ready to show her work to a newspaper. She goes to Yusuf with her best paintings. These are better, Yusuf says. Leila is happy but also determined to keep improving. I'll keep learning, she says. One Saturday morning, Leila sat by the edge of the bridge, her painting set beside her. The morning light danced on the water, reflecting the world in soft, shimmering hues. She watched the children fishing nearby. Their clothes were worn, their faces pale, and their eyes carried a quiet sadness that spoke of hardship. Leila's hands moved almost on their own, capturing not just their features, but the emotions hidden beneath. With each stroke, she poured her heart into the painting, determined to tell their story through her art. Later that day, Leila brought the finished painting to Salim. The old shopkeeper examined it carefully, his keen eyes taking in every detail. This, Salim said, holding the painting up to the light, is your best work yet. You've captured something real, something people will feel when they look at it. Leila's heart swelled with pride. Do you really think it's good? She asked. Salim nodded, a rare smile gracing his face. You're ready to sell your work, Leila. People need to see this. Leila didn't waste any time. She started showing her paintings in small art galleries and markets. Slowly, word spread about the young artist who painted life in Istanbul with such raw emotion. Her work began to attract attention, and with each sale, her confidence grew. One day, as Leila walked through the market, she spotted Mrs. Yeliz. Her heart leapt, but she hesitated and started to walk past quickly. "Leila, wait," Mrs. Yeliz called out. "Why are you running away?" Leila stopped, turning back with a sheepish smile. I didn't think you'd want to see me. I'm not very clever, and I've been too busy with painting to visit." Mrs. Yeliz looked at her with warm eyes. "Not clever? Nonsense. You're in the newspaper today." Leila's eyes widened in disbelief. "Me? My painting? Which one?" "The one with the two children fishing on the bridge," Mrs. Yeliz said, holding up a folded newspaper. Leila grabbed it eagerly, her hands trembling as she opened it. There was a picture of her painting alongside a small article praising her talent. She couldn't contain her joy. "I can't believe it. My work is in the newspaper." She raced to Salim's shop, waving the paper in the air. "Salim, look, my painting is here." Salim took the paper, scanning the article with a proud smile. "Good for you, Leila. You've come a long way, but remember, you still have much to learn." Leila nodded, her excitement tempered by her determination. "You're right. Tomorrow, I'll start a new painting." Salim placed a hand on her shoulder. "Tomorrow is important. You'll be working as a painter for a newspaper now. They'll expect great things from you." Leila's laughter rang through the shop, full of hope and energy. She knew this was just the beginning of her journey as an artist, and she was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. From that day on, Leila worked tirelessly, painting the stories of Istanbul, the fishermen on the Bosphorus, the street vendors, the old men playing backgammon in the tea shops. With every piece, she grew more confident in her abilities. Her art wasn't just about technique, it was about connecting with people, telling their stories, and bringing emotions to life on the canvas. Leila had started with nothing but a dream, and now, her paintings brought joy and inspiration to everyone who saw them. As she walked the streets of her beloved city, she felt a sense of purpose. This was her path, and she was ready to follow it wherever it led.